the hell brick. How was the motel? Fine. Busy day ahead? Probably. Joanne twitched with frustration at his blunt answers. Curiosity burned behind her eyes. Grassmoor was a small town tucked into the far western corner of Victoria. Everyone was interested in a stranger. Stirling thought again about the hell brick and wondered which camp Joanne stood in. What did it matter? She could think what she liked. Stirling would make up his own mind about Dougal Kildare. He waved off the receipt and headed for the same seat next to the front window that he'd chosen yesterday. He busied himself with his phone, checking emails and the news, his posture not inviting conversation. Not that he was likely to get any. Only 2 other tables were occupied. A couple in their 30s sat stiffly at one, gazers flinty as they tried to keep their argument hushed. An elderly man wearing a tweed coat and matching cap sat at another, making no pretense to hide his interest in Stirling. Stirling smiled as he spotted a message from Olympia. He left it unopened, saving it for when he'd need cheering up later. There were others from friends, a couple more from acquaintances, asking how he was doing. A few tentative inquiries about when he might come back to work, and even more tentatively, if he would come back. His mum had sent an email too. Another for later. Stirling rubbed at his hip, wishing he had a few painkillers to ease the ache. Millie Ellie arrived with his tea. Ready for a big day in Grassmoor? Something like that. At least the weather's nice. She laid out the pot, a cup and saucer, and a mini stainless steel jug of milk. Are you here for business or pleasure? Business. Oh yeah? Who with? It's a what, not a who. He watched Millie Ellie closely. Westwind. Is that a farm? He nodded. She mustn't be a born and bred local. Or maybe she didn't care. Stirling returned to his phone, deliberately tapping and swiping. The girl lingered a few seconds longer and took the hint. His breakfast arrived 10 minutes later. No smiles this time as Joanne hovered at the table with his plate. Tilly said you're visiting Westwind. She made it sound distasteful, like he was visiting an abattoir or a murder site. That's right. What's Westwind to do with you? Everything. Stirling held her gaze steadily. It's mine. Yours? Her brows were so furrowed they almost joined. How? I inherited it. His breakfast tipped precariously. A few mushrooms tumbled off. But how? Joanne laughed, a brittle, forced sound. Unless you're Dougal's. She trailed off as she registered Stirling's expression. Unless I'm Dougal Kildare's son. Which I am. The man in the tweed coat and cap scraped his chair back. Son? Joanne repeated. She looked at his face, then at the plate, and practically slammed it down. Sauce from the baked beans splattered his jacket. His sausages tumbled into the fried eggs, bursting the yolks. Yellow bled across the plate. She said nothing. Any word tightly shuttered by puckered white lips. Her breath whistled as it rushed through her nose. Stirling supposed asking for salt was out of the question. Thanks, he said, using his paper napkin to wipe his front before opening it out and draping it over his lap. Only when he began chewing did she finally stomp off. The old man's stare was like flint. Stirling ate as he continued to read the news and toss occasional glances at the world outside. The rising sun mottled golden light over the town's historic buildings. It was going to be a fine late winter's day. He finished his meal and pushed the plate away. Tilly approached. No flirty friendliness, simply wide-eyed worry. She gathered his plate in silence, then glanced back at the counter and swallowed. Joanne, she said not to come back again. She winced. Sorry. Stirling nodded. He'd expected as much. He rode to the motel and parked near the reception door. Sean, the previously affable proprietor, stood rigid behind the counter, wearing an expression like a constipated cat. I'd like to book another night, said Stirling, pulling his wallet from his jacket pocket. No vacancy. Stirling cast a pointed look over the man's shoulder to where the empty car park could be seen through the window. Grassmoor had a population of around 700, no tourism industry that Stirling knew of, and being miles away from any major highways, little through traffic. The motel was tiny, 10 rooms at most, and there'd been